Hey everyone, time to do another ticket talk. Today I'm going to talk about this show, ECW versus WWE Head to Head, June 7th, 2006, the Nutter Center in Dayton, Ohio. I was a big fan of the original ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, for those of you who are watching who don't know what that is. It was an alternative to WWE and WCW, and ECW focused on more hardcore stuff, more violence, more real extreme. I mean, it was in the name, extreme type of wrestling show. I was a big fan, like I said, and I'd seen the show a few times when it came to Buffalo, and I watched the TV show, did the recap for Slam Wrestling, which is actually, I think, how I got the nickname or the pen name Bloodthirsty Bob Kapoor, because I was such a fan of the ECW style of wrestling. The company went bankrupt in 2001, and all the assets were bought by WWE. But they didn't really do anything with it until 2006, when they said, okay, we're going to have a one-night stand ECW, kind of a reunion show or a throwback show, bring in some of the original stars of ECW, and just bring back the company. And a few days before that, so that show was going to be on a Sunday, on the Wednesday, they said we're going to do a WWE versus ECW, faction versus faction or brand versus brand inter-promotional matches, and kind of whet the appetite for the one-night stand. And this happened to be in Dayton, of all places. So there's no really easy way to get to Dayton if you don't drive there. I decided to fly into Cincinnati and then take a bus trip to Dayton. If you've never had the chance to take a bus trip from Cincinnati to Dayton, don't do it. It was horrible. I get to the bus station in Cincinnati, and I got there fairly early. I flew in I think that morning, very early, and then I had to so I got to Cincinnati Airport, then I had to take a cab ride to the bus station. And I got to the bus station probably like 10 o'clock, and maybe 11, and I was kind of hungry. I thought, okay, maybe I'll just grab something to eat at the snack bar. So I go to the snack bar, and I'm not the healthiest eater at all times, but my God, this was terrible. They had nothing there that was of any nutritional value whatsoever. I asked the lady behind the counter, do you have anything that's not going to kill me? And she's like, well, we have deep fried nachos. I'm like, what's deep fried nachos? And she showed me they took a bag of Dorito, nacho cheese chips, threw them in the deep fryer. So already my mind's blown. Then she takes these deep fried nacho cheese Doritos, pours them into a paper tray, and then pours on just gobs of greasy melted cheese. She showed me this. I almost threw up in my mouth a little. It was so gross. So I said, I'll just have the healthiest thing they had was Pop-Tarts. So I got a package of 2 Pop-Tarts. I asked for a drink. At the time I was drinking Diet Pepsi. I usually wouldn't drink Diet Pepsi before noon, so I think I just asked her for a bottle of water. But I said, well, and she says, well, we don't have water, we have soda. And I said, okay, well, maybe I'll just get a Diet Pepsi anyway, break the rule of doing it before 12. So I asked her, okay, what sizes do you have? She goes, well, we got small and large. I said, okay, well, what size is a small? And she holds up a glass, and it was the size of a 7-Eleven Big Gulp. And I said, that's a small? How big are the larges? And she points over to this one kid who's walking by, and he's got like a full double size, like a large popcorn bucket that you get at the movie theater, full of pop, full of Coke, and he's sucking it down with a straw. I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to get anything. Like, that turned me off of junk food for, well, probably a couple hours. Anyway, so I get on this bus, and I had a window seat because I didn't ask for it, but that's what I got. And then the person coming sitting next to me is this huge, must be 350 pounds, sat beside me. He looked like, I think he might have been Tone Loc. The rapper, the Wild Thing guy, Funky Cole Medina. I think it might have been him, because he had the same voice and looked the same. And he was just like leaning, and I was pushed up against the windows to avoid being touched by smelly, sweaty Tone Loc wannabe. man, it was just a hellish ride. I hated it. Anyway, the show was pretty good. Like I said, it whet the appetite for the pay-per-view. It had a lot of the old ECW stars. It ranged from good to meh. Right, some of the matches were pretty good. It was always fun to see Terry Funk whenever he wrestled. Mick Foley cut probably one of the best promos ever that he's cut, and that's saying a lot. It was fantastic. Some of the matches were okay. The Battle Royal was awful. Big Show, turn against WWE, join the ECW faction. Who cares? That was awful. But the show was fun. Oddly enough, I think during the intermission I was walking to get to get some water or something, and I run into these two guys, and they know me. They're like, "Hey, Bob." I'm like, I honestly, who are you guys? And they recognize me. They're buddies now, but it was Doug and Jay, two good friends of mine now, who had recognized me from a show we'd seen. I think we met in line, must have been 7 years before that, possibly. When I first moved up to Toronto, we met in a line at a wrestling show. They remember me from that. God love them, because I honestly blanked. I told them, sorry guys, I don't know who you are. But they introduced themselves, and we've been good friends ever since then. Jay, actually both, we've done a lot of road trips together, some of which I'll talk about. Jay and I still do road trips quite a bit together. Doug, not so much ever since he got married, but that's life. Anyway, I ended up, talking with them for a bit, and then enjoying the rest of the show. Good and bad that it was. I hated the bus ride so much that I did not want to take the bus ride back the next day from Dayton to Cincinnati. So I ended up getting back to the hotel after the show, calling and changing my flight to fly out of Dayton direct to Toronto. I had to pay like $100 change fee. It was worth it. Anyway, that was oddly enough not my worst bus trip. I'll tell you about that one another time, and I'll talk to you another time about a different show. Thanks a lot.